your audience on board happens very quickly. We've all done it. We form an opinion based on our first few seconds of seeing you, and this is also the same when you're a speaker. And in order to get your audience with you, you must tap into your emotions, because to truly engage with an audience or with anyone requires a level of emotional involvement. And to make this happen, you have to be willing to focus on your own emotions. So before you even think of getting on a stage, ask yourself, how do you feel about the message you are going to give? What do you want the audience to feel? Because of the way we are and the way our brain works, if you focus intensely on what you're feeling, your body language automatically will convey it to an audience. So loosen your shoulders, keep your back straight and relax those shoulders. And the reason you need to untense your shoulders, because when we are nervous or tense, that's the first place it shows up in. Give them a bit of a small shake, pull them up and down, get them really relaxed. And keep those arms relaxed at your sides. Your arms, well, people tell if people are honest or trustworthy depending on what their arms are doing. They know if you're insecure or you're hiding something. So don't cross your arms. Don't put them on your hips. Don't hide them behind your back, and really try hard not to clutch them up to your chest as if you're praying. These really are things that give you away. Use your hands naturally to gesture when you speak, because when your gestures are natural, it improves your credibility with an audience and it helps with your thought process. We all know those people that use their hands to describe something or add weight. But a little warning here, don't go overboard. You might end up looking like a windmill. You do need eye contact, but keep it balanced. We always trust people more when they make eye contact with us. You know what it's like when people try to avoid eye contact? We don't trust them. Engage one person at a time. Just make that eye contact, but don't hang on to it too long, and then move on to somebody else. Or if it's a big audience, look at sections of the crowd, to the right, to the left, to the centre, the forward, the back. And as I've said, do not stare for too long. Don't get so caught that you're maintaining eye contact with one person all the time. It is so uncomfortable for the person. About 4 to 5 seconds is perfect. Monitor your voice. Keep your voice at quite an even level. And if you get overexcited, and some people do, don't let those excitement tones spike too high. Just take a deep breath. Slow down, because then you'll be clear and you'll give the impression that you are relaxed and confident, and then the audience will engage better. Smile occasionally. Laugh, enjoy yourself. This will put your audience at ease. They're going to be more inclined to listen to you because you come across as a positive, upbeat person. But again, balance, because you don't want to go overboard, because then you just look like you're manically laughing and you're really nervous and needy. And you don't need to keep that smile plastered on your face. It just makes you seem insincere. Keep it simple, keep it relaxed, and enjoy yourself. We all have those little tics and things we do when we're nervous we don't know about. So avoid fidgeting. Again, it does make you seem nervous and it's incredibly distracting. It's things like tapping your foot, when you're clicking a marker lid, drumming your fingers against the podium, anything like that. We end up just looking at that. And women, don't flick your hair. That's even more annoying. All that happens is you seem nervous, we worry for you, and we get distracted by the fidgeting. Just slow down and keep your movements focused. Keep your eyes on the audience. It can be so tempting on stage when you're nervous and you can look at the ground, or you turn your back on an audience just to focus on those slides, or if you've got notes, you just keep your head down into the notes. And this just seems like you don't actually know your subject. Keep your head up and straight and eyes towards the audience. You can look around occasionally, you can look up and down, but your audience are the most important thing to focus on. And I'll keep repeating this. Just slow down. If you can speak and walk slower, it not only calms you down, it takes away that nervous look, makes you look more confident. Keep your neck straight and your head up. This is all about good posture. And from head to toe, standing up straight and keeping your eye on the audience. And this will actually show you to be a really confident person, and you'll feel it too. Keep upright. Feel confident. Look confident. We all know that making a good entrance is key. And remember that you may have received an amazing introduction and everyone's clapping, but that doesn't mean your audience are ready for you to start. You have to remember that at that point, their thoughts are still on the person who introduced you. It may be they've received a message, or their next door, person sitting with them has said something. They need to get past that moment. And to make sure that they're concentrating on you, slow down your entrance. You don't have to rush at it, and stand silently waiting for them to focus on you. Smile, look around, nod, acknowledge you're in your space. Once you feel that all the audience attention is on you, that's the perfect time to start speaking. Everything about you should be consistent. They don't want to see calm then crazy. As humans, we don't deal with inconsistency very well. It makes us think that there's something up. And once somebody's brain begins to think there's something up, they fill the gaps. So the trust goes, or they look at you and decide you don't know what you're talking about. And be very aware of that consistency between expressions and words. The two have to go together, otherwise it jars in your audience's mind. Avoid exaggerated body language unless it is key and appropriate to the particular thing you're talking about at a particular time. It just seems disingenuous. Over the top can be interpreted as neediness with the please love me. You know the person when you're talking to them that's nodding really heavily, or you're nodding really heavily when you're talking, and actually people begin to think maybe you don't actually understand anything and you just want them to believe you do. Well, working with objects on stage or props, which is my particular favourite, make sure they work. Check your clickers. Make sure there's pens for your flip chart marker. Make sure your props are where you know they are and you can grab them when you need them. It can so easily put you off if there's a malfunction, and you should always have an A, B, C, D prepared just in case. Now, when you've finished with whatever it is, whether it's the clicker or the flip chart or a prop, put it aside, put it down so that you don't end up playing with it for the rest of the speech, which brings us back to fidgeting and distraction. Think about those really important points and think about a really good gesture that's going to amplify that point. And your actions must be appropriate to what you're saying. They have to gel together. As an audience, as human beings, we are used to movement, and we easily get when you emphasize a point with the right gesture. And during that important gesture, Take center stage where everyone can see you. Stand front and center. Some places it may be a very wide stage, so you need to be where everyone in the audience can see you. Think of that spot. That spot is your main position. That's where you come back to. But don't get locked in that spot. Okay? Move, use the stage. That's all your area. Change direction to emphasize something or to segue into another piece. But remember, every time you're going to come back to a new paragraph or a new point, get back to your spot in center stage. Trust your content. This is your field. Trust it and command the stage. And thinking of your content, of your message, your physical presence, it needs to match the material. This will create an even bigger impact. Know your story. Understand why you are up there. What is it you are going to give your audience? What is your beginning, your middle, and your end? We are back to confidence is key. If you're going to move, move with purpose. Don't wander backwards and forwards. If you move with purpose, you keep the audience attention. They follow you. And a really good tip, if you have a key point you want the audience to get, move towards them. When you've made the point, just move away from it again. Use your stage. Map out where you're going to move. Help to facilitate the movement of your ideas. So if you're presenting 3 issues, take a different position on the stage for each issue. That way the audience stays connected. Don't forget, front center stage, that's where the most important points are made. Now, sometimes you're going to be in a small room and your audience may be in like a U shape. Don't be afraid to walk into it. Don't be afraid to walk into your audience. Okay, some people will see your back, but it's only going to be for moments. And then you walk back again. But make sure you keep that eye contact and it's comfortable for everybody. Try really hard not to grip the podium if you're stood behind one or a microphone stand. For some reason, when we're nervous, we try to grab things. So if you are using a podium or a microphone or something else, just keep your hands relaxed and light. If your knuckles are white, you're not going to instill any confidence, and people are just going to wait for you to completely crack up. Stay steady. Don't forget about the fidgeting. Avoid shifting from one foot to the other or rocking backwards and forwards. Stand with your feet firmly planted. Root yourself with an equal weight on both feet. We all like to hide, especially on stage, so avoid physical blockages. Don't get yourself hidden behind a podium or a desk or a flip chart, whatever else you may be using. If people can't see you, then it's so much more difficult for them to focus on you, but more importantly, focus on your message. However, sometimes you find you have to stand behind something. It may be that you have to use the podium because of the way the technical stuff works. Do it with assurance. Don't try to look like you're shrinking from the audience. Be very mindful of your blinking. This is another one of those fidget things we aren't often aware of. If you do too much blinking, it's a sign that you're uncomfortable. We won't know what that uncomfortable is, but it seems that you will be uncomfortable. So if you feel this happening, or you know it's something you do, relax and close your eyes just for a second. Just close your eyes, take a breath, then open them again slowly. Now, you know what they say, dress for success. A lot of people say adjust your clothing to set the tone. And I absolutely believe this only comes in depending on the field of work that you're working in and your brand. So be aware, what is your brand? What is your image? And This sort of body language that we send out, these invisible signals, to be fair, the way you dress can instantly give your audience a plethora of messages, and you want them to get the right one. Knowing who your audience is key to this. So find out from organisers, ask them who is coming so that you are dressed appropriately for your audience. For instance, if you're the keynote at a corporate event, then you may require a slightly more elegant outfit or something a bit more stands out than if you're doing a 2-day seminar as a trainer and you want your audience to feel more casual because they need to take stuff in. Pay attention to your palms. You need to think about whether you're going to use a script or notes, but I have to tell you, scripts can kill your charisma. You need to offer more vocal variety because that becomes part of your personality, the way you speak, and an audience believes vocal variety. It makes you more credible. You see, when a talk becomes too scripted and perfect, audience get bored very quickly. They want to see the human in you, the human like them. And you may think that, delivering a webinar and you haven't got a video audience, or when you do stuff when you're not sure they're there, people can still hear if you're speaking from a script, if you're reading from notes. And they know if you talk only on the basis of bullet points and add your own words. So dynamic sentences need a much wider stance because voice actually reverberates around our entire body. It's not just what comes out of our mouths. You need to open up your stance just a little wider than hip distance. This tells the brain to calm your nervous system. It allows you to breathe with ease because you've opened up the diaphragm, and it amplifies your voice because it's coming from deep, not just from the lungs. So let's think about facial expression. The way you use facial expressions, they can either win you a whole audience or lose you an audience. Don't try to artificially create a facial expression. You don't want to be deadpan. You don't want to ever move a muscle. You can't come across as unfriendly. The more natural you are, the more relaxed you are, your facial expressions will support your stories. They'll actually reflect your true emotions. It's all about staying confident and positive. It's about maintaining an open and relaxed attitude. So remember, how you feel will come through in your body language, and that will have some of the greatest impact on your talk.